Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to Sims Workshop. I hope you're having a wonderful day. So, today we're going to be reviewing All That We See or Seem by Ken Liu. This was the December pick for my virtual book club, Read with Sims Workshop. And you know what? I'm really excited that I'm getting back into sci-fi. I love sci-fi. I really do. I just don't read enough of it, and I think my problem is I'm too picky. And sometimes I'm not picky enough, and I just want to read like everything and all of it, like Children of Time and Annihilation, and I just want to read Scalzi, basically. Red Shirts, Kaiju. I want to read them all, you know? So I got this book with my Alcrate sci-fi subscription. Thank God it has a sci-fi subscription. So it's really, really getting me back into reading sci-fi, and I love that for me. So I have two reasons why I love this book. One, it takes place in Massachusetts. I grew up at MIT. I went to college at Emerson. It takes place in Boston. And I'm just like, oh, I know that street. It was great for me. I was just like, aw, I'm returning home in a way. Second is Julia Z reminds me so much of Lisbeth Salander from the Millennium Trilogy. You know, the girl with the dragon tattoo, girl who, you know, that series. Play with Fire, Kick the Hornet's Nest. Those I haven't read past those three. I don't think I finished Hornet's Nest. I watched all the movies with Noomi Rapace. Brilliant movies, by the way. But that's who Julia reminds me of. But not as rough around the edges. You know, she's very much kind of like a home buddy. She seems sweeter and softer than Lisbeth, you know? So I like that while she reminded me of Lisbeth in her hacker ways and the whole, I'm going to destroy your organization with my hacker ways. But she had her really own personality, and she was very, very different from that. But to me, I feel like she was inspired by Lisbeth. And maybe I'm wrong, but to me, that's what she reminded me of. And so I really, really like that. And I think the best thing about the book as well is her characterization. She goes from kind of being like an introverted home buddy hacker with mother issues, which I could definitely connect to those. You know, her mother was a military mom, you know, they're Asian, and she didn't really, it's not that she didn't care that her daughter was picked on for her Asianness. It's more of, she thought, oh, sticks and stones, but it's like, she would undermine her daughter's feelings about it, you know? And that's the part that sucks. So it does create this barrier. Like, you can love someone and hate someone at the same time. And Julia has a lot of guilt for hating her mother, because she's like, well, she did the best she could. She's like, it's okay to love and hate your mother at the same time. They did wrong you in some ways and leave some trauma that you're still coping with. But you can still love her for the mother that she was, doing your best. It's okay to hate her too. Definitely connect to all of that. Very relatable book for me, as you can imagine. But I think her characterization going from point A to point B was really, really good. She didn't want to help Piers, you know, find his wife who went missing in the middle of the night, which, by the way, I hate Ellie. I don't like her at all. You know, and she was kind of the creator of Vivid Dreaming, which is kind of like virtual reality, but it's dreaming and you're interacting with other people. And, you know, that kind of begs the question of little existentialism here. Are you truly forming connections and creating a community if you're just doing it in a virtual world? But then that goes to the argument about nowadays where people do form communities via online systems, you know, Instagram. We are very much a online society nowadays, right? So take my virtual book club. Does it being virtual negate the fact that we're all forming connections? Or does it have to be in person in order to make those connections? Or are you just presenting a facade on the internet? So are people getting to know the real you on the internet versus in the real life? But you can also present a facade in real life. So lots of discussion points, lots of really good discussion points. But it makes you think, it does make you think. And for Julia, the vivid dreaming worked for her in a therapeutic way, because once something happened to Piers, that happened like halfway through the book. I'm like, okay, what's going to happen now? We still have half a book to go. What's going on, right? So it was a really thoughtful book for me. She decides, you know what? No, the person who got Ellie and Piers, I'm going to go after them, right? She goes from being, I really don't want to be doing this, but he's paying me good money to, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to tear them down. The way Elizabeth Salander would, And I think that that's great for her, because then she starts opening up and she starts dealing with her trauma with the vivid dreaming, because in order to find Ellie, she has to think like Ellie. She has to get to know Ellie. But in order to do that, she has to hack into the program that Ellie built, her vivid dreaming situation. Although we see her theme is very apt title, honestly. Very apt. So, it begs the question, again, does it being virtual negate the good it does do? And I don't think it does, honestly. I think that was my, after much discussion, I think that was my last hurrah. I'm like, I don't think it does make it any lesser. You're still kind of forming a sort of connection, whether it be with your alter ego or with yourself. You're still kind of dealing with who you are emotionally. And sometimes it's easier to be the real you online because there is no fear of that social interaction. It's much easier to just kind of do things virtually, especially nowadays. We are a very heavily technological society, So it's really a book that makes you think a lot. And it made Julia grow a lot. She went from being closed off from people and old friends to, I'm not going to stay closed off anymore. I'm going to start making more of an effort to spend physical time with the people I do care about, who do care about me. So it really is thoughtful. And I think the way she takes down the bad guy, I'm like, I love you, girl. Go you. Go Julia. Go Julia. Go Julia. Julia is awesome. She is awesome. But this was really a great book club pick, because it really does make you think, and it really does make you analyze, and it really just makes you kind of like deep dive into your own subconscious in a way. It was very therapeutic for me, but it was also very thoughtful for me as well to read. It was very compelling. It made me think of all of these possibilities and then the ramifications of being too technological. And I like the fact that it's a cyberpunk novel, but it's not like heavy cyberpunk, like Cyberpunk 2077, It's cyberpunk, but I guess not like Blade either, cyberpunk. Blade Runner, sorry. It's not like Blade Runner cyberpunk either. It's like a softer version of cyberpunk, because it's categorized as a cyberpunk novel, but it didn't feel so heavily cyberpunk. It felt like not too far in the future cyberpunk, if that makes any sense. But it was a really thoughtful, compelling novel. It had great characterization. The tension, again, halfway through the book, I'm like, what's gonna happen? You still have a whole half a book left. What's gonna happen? Was just, it was great. It was very good. I do highly recommend it. I really do. So, on that note, thank you all for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your book loving friends. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.